Good morning. The word for you today. Today is Thursday, October 30th, and our devotion is titled Give Your Children Confidence. Our scripture passage comes out of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verses 4 through 9. These are my favorite verses. Truly, when I tell you, these are the verses that underpin the entirety of my ministry. They are some of the most well-known verses in our scriptures. Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9 says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your excess. Keep these words that I am commanding you today in your heart. Recite them to your children and talk about them when you're at home, when you are away, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and fix them as an emblem on your forehead. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates." That first part, "Hear, O Israel, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and you may know strength or might." In Hebrew, it's kind of like exceedingness, like basically everything else. It's a etc. category. And yes, that's an important part. But this is a commandment to teach these things, to nurture the next generation. When you read through the Old Testament, when we read through the Jewish, the Hebrew, the Aramaic scriptures, when we read through this first testament of the Bible, what we see is a God who continuously says, faith must be remembered. And faith must be reminded and continued. It must be repeated, and we have to keep it at the forefront of our mind, because otherwise we grow complacent and forget it. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably have days where you kind of forget to thank God for your blessings. You forget to do the things that you feel are just and right. And so that's why it goes into this depth of do this and do this, do this and do this, remind yourself this way, teach it to people, remember it when you go to sleep and when you wake up. It's a daily call of living. And one of the parts that I think we skip over because it's just a phrase, it's a clause in the bigger sentence, is recite these words to your children. Study after study shows that the formative years of a child's life are among the most impactful in personality development, in physical, mental, and emotional well-being, in intellectual and cognitive ability. Not because they're born a certain way with they're born inherently smarter or something, but because those early years are building blocks that are crucial to new things. We see when our children aren't spoken to, they have trouble speaking, they have trouble picking up language. When we don't read to our children when they're young, they have a harder time learning literacy skills. If we don't let a child exercise, or we don't encourage play, their muscle and their fine motor skills are hindered. In the same way, if we don't pour into our child spiritually and emotionally, we create an additional barrier for them to have to overcome. Now, full transparency, I'm not a parent. I have no prospects of being a parent anytime soon, and while I hope to one day be one, that's not guaranteed. But what I do know is this. I was once a child, and I remember the times that my parents said harsh things out of anger, and the times that my parents said kind and loving things. And both of those have stuck with me, but they stick with me in different ways. I remember the way that my parents taught me to read, read to me, encouraged a love of learning. And those are skills and traits that have followed me into my adulthood. And one of the things that especially my grandparents did was they instilled a value in faith. Now, they weren't explicit about it being Christian, but what they did was they lived lives that continuously showed the importance of having a belief system. And when I expressed interest, they encouraged me to pursue it. So, while this devotional's title is about giving confidence to your children, and yes, that's an important part, I think it goes deeper. Are we as parents, as siblings, as aunts and uncles, as grandparents, or as friends, family, or neighbor to these children, giving them tools to better build the ladder that they need to climb? Or are we putting hurdles in the way for them to jump over? And if it's the latter, it's never too late to begin to undo that, to seek reconciliation, or to try better the next time. Because at the end of the day, we worship a God who is loving and kind and generous and merciful and just and every other attribute of God you can think of. And that God desires for us to teach our children about Him. Have a nice day.